I'm a publisher, and one day my daughter Christina asked me to write a novel with her. Well, that day was long ago, and that little girl is now an adult. But our novels live on. The Truth Seekers Mystery Series highlights a homeschool family, the Murphy teens, in an action-adventure novel that is sure to entertain as well as teach creation truths. To get your copy, visit our website at truthseekersmysteryseries.com.
This is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network. Welcome to the Vintage Homeschool Mom Show. Your host, Felice Gerwitz, is an author, a publisher, and your radio show host. She will encourage, educate, and inspire you with answers to your most pressing questions from homeschool, marriage, parenting, and much more. Felice loves to equip moms to live a Christian life because every moment counts. Be sure to visit her website at mediaangels.com. And here's your host, Felice Gerwitz.
Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Felice Gerwitz with an episode of Vintage Homeschool Moms. Today, I am going to encourage you, and we are going to talk about enthusiasm. This is episode 428, and you can find today's show notes at vintagehomeschoolmoms.com. Also, if you are not getting our free planners, that's right. We give away character planners every month at the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. So if you sign up and get on our monthly email list, you will get a copy of the planner each month. And don't miss out on our current sales. We have so many different ones, so I don't want to mention them on air because they change. So if you check out our website, and that is mediaangels.com, and you can look at mediaangels.com/books. I have some of my books in print format that you can order directly from me, and they are going to be less expensive than on other websites. So maybe check that out as well. I also am going to have information. I have a lot of information to share with you today about some Creation Kids classes that I am going to be actually redoing. I have creation classes already, and they're in audio format with handouts. Well, the handouts will probably remain the same. I have to take a look at them. It's been a while, but I am converting all of those into video so that I'm going to be coming into your home, hopefully, and helping you to teach the wonders of creation to your children. And so, again, that will be coming up, so stay tuned. And if you're a member of our email list, then you will get information about that as well. All right. Well, today we are going to talk about how we struggle each day and how we can overcome. And believe me, it's probably the understatement of the year to say that we struggle daily over some other, things. A lot of times I tell my husband, I swear it's self-perpetuating that I have, things that I give myself to do or expectations that don't get met. And so we get, disappointed and, discouraged. And, I was thinking too about my younger self. Have you ever done that? Looked at a picture of yourself when you were younger and, maybe thinner or, had your original hair color or whatever that was. And I remember the fun and enthusiastic person who was always excited and ready to tackle life. And that person kind of went by the wayside as life went on. So it's time to reclaim that person and make it even better than we were. So I was going to do this challenge alone, and I decided what better way to keep myself accountable than to present it to all of you. And so I want to know if you are ready to join me in this challenge. And before you turn off your podcast, hold on. I'm not going to give you 12 steps to follow or even 2 or 3. But there is one thing I'm going to share with you in just a minute that it hit me, really something that I had missed. And I was going to challenge myself to do this on my own. And I thought, I'm going to ask you guys as well. And, we're the ones, moms, and I know sometimes dads listen as well, but we are the ones who handle the management of our family. We are the ones who hold it together in a crisis. We are the ones who school our kids and take care of our home and all that entails. And in fact, we do more than most CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and we're supposed to do it happily and with a smile. When I look at the reasons I often lost it, for lack of a better descriptive word, in the midst of my homeschooling years, meaning I yelled at my kids and I was upset with them, and I was kind of upset with everything, from school to how the house was going to chores to whatever. I found that the kids were more disobedient the angrier I got. And it didn't decrease. Just because I was upset with them didn't mean that everything worked out well. And in fact, a lot of times we hold things over our kids' heads and we expect them to want our approval when we've burned some bridges, and it just doesn't work out that way. Moms and dads, because you guys play a role, and there is no class on how to be a good wife or husband or mother or father and balance work and home. Sure, there's a lot of people's opinions out there, but there is no one perfect and definitive guide that gives each one of us specific things we need to do, a box to check off in order to find that happiness and family peace that we all crave. And even if there was, how much would you really embrace? If you read 12 points or 6 points, are you thinking, you've got to be kidding me, there is no way? Or do you agree with every single thing that is listed? One of the reasons that many self-help books do not work for me is because I'm a thinker. And I'm going to say most of you are as well. We think for ourselves. We're wired in such a way that to do things the way others want us to do them, maybe we can pick up a good pointer here and there, but it often puts us in a box and makes us unhappy. We, or I anyway, want to do things my own way. Think about this. Is there a book or even a friend who has tried to help you in some way? I remember as a young mom having a wonderful mother-in-law who kept a very clean house, cooked meals from scratch, and showered and had makeup on before her husband returned home. Well, it was amazing because I would look at her and think, I cannot do this. And the first year of my marriage, I was working as a teacher. But then when I was pregnant, I stayed home with my son. And I remember thinking that there is no way I can do this. I had 2 years of teaching experience by the time I had my first child. And while my mother was very well-meaning and gave me very valuable advice, I was not a regimented person like she is. And if I had to follow a schedule, for example, she would dust every Monday morning. And I told her, I said, if I knew that I had to get up on a Monday and vacuum and dust all day, I probably would roll over and stay in bed and avoid the day. And she just looked at me, thinking, well, this is great advice. The problem is that we each want our lives to go the way we want them to go. And a lot of times when we're unhappy or we're lacking that enthusiasm of jumping up and out of bed and, being excited about the day ahead, we have to look at those reasons and analyze what is going wrong. For me, especially as a young mom, I had lost that stimulation of having a bunch of friends around me, college friends, work-life friends, and my priorities really changed. I was with a baby 24/7. And for you young moms out there that maybe don't have a lot of outside influence, you know what I mean. I can still remember this time, and I remember it as some days being very, very lonely. And I have to say it was very rewarding to be a mom, but I craved outside interactions with friends. And I was blessed to have a husband who was very happy. He was happy to be married and happy to go to work. And, he even took a job he detested because it paid well. And so soon, praise you, Jesus, we had our own company that he still works at to this day. But he was happy even with a job he didn't like. He was happy even though we didn't have a lot of money. He was happy living in a small little house. And so I would talk to him and say, how are you so happy all the time? And he told me it was a decision. Before we were married, he had actually shared a story about how he was miserable in his middle and high school years. And once he was in college, he made a decision that he was going to be happy. He was going to choose happiness and make the best of whatever happened. And the person I know today is usually a very happy person and has a smile for everyone. In fact, I can't imagine my husband perpetually unhappy. That is not the person I know today. And so this decision that he made was easy, but it's not so easy for everyone else. And of course, no one's happy all the time, but we can figure out how to make the best of a bad situation. And how do we do that? Well, this one decision he made not only changed his life, but it changed the life of everyone around him, because he was basically a witness of what can happen when you make a decision to choose to be enthusiastic, to choose to encourage others, to choose to put a smile on your face. He decided not to dwell on the negative, but on the positives in life. And that is the key. If you look at a glass that is filled with water to the middle line, do you think of it as half full or half empty? If you start seeing things as half full, then this philosophy is going to change your life. When is the last time you laughed without reservation, or the last time you woke up excited about starting the day? If you can't remember that, it's going to change, because we're all going to starting today if you join me in this challenge. Every single person has a list of all the things that are wrong in your life. And I'm sure if I asked you to write it down, you could probably fill a sheet of paper with everything that's going wrong. But what if I asked you to do the reverse and fill a sheet of paper with the good things that are going on in your life? A friend of mine recently posted that his home is falling apart, literally. There is a major work being done with the plumbing and electrical systems. In addition, he said, his freezer just died and it was full of food. And then the washer and dryer died. And then there's some medical problems within the family. Now, this is a guy who, when he posts things, he gets 200 or 300 responses. The issue isn't so much what is happening in our lives. It's how we look at those things and how we address them. If you have all the money in the world, those things aren't an issue, right? You just fix them. But the problems remain. Some things money can't fix. And what do? This friend, for example, is showing us that even through adversity, he can continue to praise God. God does hear every single complaint we have or praise we have. And maybe you're not a believer, but bear with me. So many times we're so busy putting out the daily fires that we can't even figure out how we can go on each day. Whatever it is you're struggling with, I'm sending you a virtual hug. I'm actually in a place in my life where I finally am living a dream I had so many years ago. And I'm going to say it was like 30 years ago. I didn't have time to talk to moms because we were homeschooling, and the park days were far and few between. Now I can talk to you. Sure, it's a one-way conversation, and I know many of you online where we share our hearts on social media. But what is your passion? And I wish we were together so we could sit and talk. You may not realize it this second, but again, God knows, and maybe someday you too will be able to fulfill this idea, whatever it is that you want to do. When I was a young mom, one of the things I wanted to do was write books. I wanted to write novels. Later, I wrote curriculum. And then, years later after that, I wrote novels with my daughter. My main passion has always been faith, family, caring for my kids, and homeschooling. Homeschooling was never my choice. It actually picked me. But I cannot think of any other way that I could have spent those 30 years or so homeschooling and how I could have done things differently. Sure, I could have improved. I could have improved on a lot of things. And if I go back and dwell on the negative, I can probably figure out all of the things I did wrong. But I'm going to dwell on the positive, that I have 5 kids who are adults now. My youngest is going to be 21 this year. And they love the Lord. They love family life. They are great individuals. And I can't imagine that would have been the case if I had not spent the time homeschooling them. Friends, we have one day at a time to tackle that day. And maybe take a 5-minute break in your life and find some way to be grateful, some way to recapture that enthusiasm you had when you were younger. Some way that you can look at the day and say, you know what? Today I am going to be enthusiastic about the day, and I am going to show this enthusiasm to others. So I want to encourage you today. I want to encourage you to take one day at a time. Take a break, a minute, 5 minutes, whenever that is. Take a deep breath and look at that cup and decide it's going to be half full today. And I want to encourage you too that the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network was created because I wanted to share my vision with other people that I knew would create great podcasts for you guys. And it is going into its 8th year this year. And it has been a labor of love. A lot of work, but a labor of love. And again, there are thousands of hours of podcasts on this network that are free, that will enrich you and engage you. And I pray they will be beneficial to you. So again, take this challenge with me. I'll report back in a couple of months and let you know how I'm doing. I did this before when I was trying to lose weight. I have some podcasts on losing weight on here. And that actually worked for me, to have the pressure of coming back and having to share, starting an exercise regime, which I'm getting ready to start up again. So I may have to do another one on that because you guys keep me accountable. And I get emails from people asking how I'm doing, or saying that they haven't been in touch a while, or, even on social media, on Messenger or Facebook, or, wherever else I happen to be. But know that I am keeping you guys in my thoughts and prayers. And I want to thank you so much for joining me, for allowing this network to be in its 8th year with millions of downloads. And, I pray that this network is a blessing to you. All right. Take care. God bless. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Homeschool Mom Show. Visit Felice at MediaAngels.com and TheVintageHomeschoolMoms.com. Vintage Homeschool Moms is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network.